Welcome to the Weekends with Bernie podcast. I'm Tom Everett Scott, taking you on a father and son journey through a season of fantasy football. Bernie Gallagher is a retired sports reporter and bartender, teaming up with his son, Jason, a composer in Los Angeles. They will attempt to conquer the league I created. They will have to overcome injuries, trash talk, heartbreaking loss, and that's just between the two of them. Join us as we talk fathers and football on Weekends with Bernie. All right, so good buddy of ours, famous director. I always say famous. I always just introduce people as famous.
Infamous.
Yeah. A good friend.
It's sort of like a little dig. It's a nice way of slipping a little dig on a person.
It makes you think am I famous? And then
it makes me think I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. And then it makes you.
Yeah. It makes I have to say it to make you feel good.
That's right.
Right. I don't have to say it to make you feel good. You have made some of my favorite movies of all time, and we will get into that. But this is John Hyams.
Hey,
Thank you, sir.
welcome, John.
I go by Long John Hyams, actually. Good.
Yeah. It's a good nickname. I wonder what that nickname comes from.
It's a pirate thing.
Takes me a long time to finish things.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay, so this could be our longest episode yet.
Let's do it. He's a big fan of the podcast, right?
I'm a big fan, yeah.
Okay.
I've seen them all.
There you go.
Awesome.
Steve Zahn. I actually went back and even watched Steve Zahn's video of him being the offensive coordinator of did you guys watch that?
Yeah, that's incredible.
That was pretty epic.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
And he does look like that guy.
he does.
And
I know. I actually turns out he's a better offensive coordinator than that guy too, I think.
Because they let that guy go.
Yeah, that guy was gone. That guy was like, I hope I'm going to be here for a long, long time. It's like,
they were
not.
We have someone who looks just like you.
Exactly. Zahn is replacing you.
Exactly.
During COVID, Zahn also made videos on Instagram. He started an Instagram account because of COVID, so that he could entertain people, and he did some of the most hilarious videos.
If you haven't seen Steve Zahn's Instagram account, you got to check that out as well.
I have to.
I'm a
phenomenal.
Huge fan. Coordinated dances with his daughter, on the farm, and
then he
just
did one,
random.
It was right at the beginning of COVID. He did one where he's answering the mail in full bomb squad outfit.
I love starting a podcast with a new guest and talking about an old guest.
Yeah,
we should do that every time.
Not answering the mail, getting the mail. Sorry.
John, you're in our league. You're in our fantasy football league. How are you doing?
I'm 2-2 right now.
As are the Weekends with Bernie team.
And you know what? It was so disappointing because I lost on a field goal, which was just a worthless field goal in that Giants game.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
And also I lost because my number one pick, Travis Kelce Swift.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's fantastic. He's deserving of being number one pick, but Mahomes wasn't throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
He's trying to really spread it out.
He's a little distracted too.
Yeah,
Kelce,
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
No, but he's not. He's ready. He's ready for the ball. One more reception. Yeah, because he's showing off. He's a showman. He wants that everyone up in the box to see some exciting plays.
Yeah.
And they're just not giving him the ball.
Maybe he just figures my jersey's gonna sell through the roof. Now I don't have to do anything anymore.
Do they get a cut of their own jersey sales?
I think you do, right?
Not sure.
That's incredible.
His
That would
went
be a
up
good
400%, I think.
Fantastic.
It's kind of funny because it's like the NFL didn't really need to be any more successful, and now somehow, but it is now.
Yeah.
Now it got a bunch of people who
Right.
Who would have never
would have no interest in football at all.
I texted my niece Arlie immediately, who's a Taylor Swift fan. I said, "Welcome to enjoying football. I'm glad you're here. You like the NFL now, right?"
And she's like, "How about that Travis Kelce?" It's like the one player.
Your text was not met with enthusiasm.
No, she's like, "There's nothing that will make me understand football."
No, she didn't say that. She did not say that. She said,
I'm putting the voice to it. But that's what
totally
it read.
different.
That's how it read.
By the way, I'm a full blown 92%er, New Heights devotee. So I saw the writing on the wall of this Taylor Swift thing. I don't know if you guys listen to the podcast.
I don't know. We don't listen to other podcasts.
You don't listen to you guys don't listen to the Kelce podcast?
Yeah,
no,
him
and his brother. Yeah,
Him and his
he
brother.
predicted it, right? He was.
Oh, it was this whole story played out. He went to the Taylor Swift concert.
Okay.
He brought a friendship bracelet.
Oh.
Backstage, he was going to give it to her, but I guess that's a Taylor Swift thing. Is they give out friendship bracelets?
Right.
He brought one with his phone number on it.
Oh,
but
great move.
Apparently, Taylor doesn't meet people before and after the show. She's got to preserve her voice.
Okay.
Because she sings a lot of songs. I guess those concerts, she sings 40-something songs.
Sure, yeah.
So he made this very public admission of being shut down by Taylor Swift. It was kind of like the most awesome move I've seen a guy do in publicly calling his shot. I'm trying to date the number one person.
Yeah.
And he, but in true form, he even used the term, he said I was kind of butthurt because she wouldn't get my friendship bracelet. So they kind of made fun of him.
Okay.
Got it.
It was like the joke that he tried to score Taylor Swift and didn't. And now look at her. She's up in the box with Donna Kelce.
So he knew that she's attracted to big babies. So he acted like a big baby.
He cried about it.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. He's probably seen, I've seen a bunch of her boyfriends before. I guess we've all.
You have?
Well, I don't know. Wasn't John Mayer one of them?
Sure, famously.
None of them are anything like Travis Kelce. So that's maybe
he's probably the toughest.
He's bringing that Bernie energy, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well,
The
we
deep
do.
voice.
Yeah, he's got a deep voice.
If you know what I'm talking about.
All right.
Hello. Wait, she famously also writes songs. Sorry. She also famously writes songs about the guy she breaks up with.
That's right.
So I'm just imagining like a Kelsey song.
We're all imagining. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing. Better than Greg Palmer's
Can I tell you what's so
Palmer
weird
would
about this?
Make a great one.
Greg Palmer needs to do a Taylor Swift one. This is how deep I am, and maybe this is just a reflection of my love of fantasy football and my team, is that I was like, I should probably learn about Taylor Swift. I don't really know her songs.
Just for your fantasy football team.
I
Because you have
think,
Kelce.
yeah, so I was like, I'm like, kids, let's listen to some Taylor Swift today. They're like, what the fuck, Dad? And I'm like, come on, let's have an open mind. Let's listen to this one. And so I started getting them on the iTunes.
What do you think?
Some pretty good ones.
Dad,
Some
Bernie,
pretty catchy ones. I
Bernie,
like it.
name one Taylor Swift song, Bernie.
Let me go. I'm tired.
No, that's your hit.
Oh,
That's your hit song.
All right.
I know. We all knew "Shake It Off," right?
Oh,
but I
right.
like.
Sure.
I like
Famous.
"My Lover."
Oh,
Lover.
maybe that's
It's a good one. Slow and emotional.
Oh,
Now, were your girls into Taylor Swift before you drafted Travis Kelce?
They're really not. Weirdly enough,
Okay.
my kids.
You have two great kids. They're just the coolest kids ever.
Thank you. We all feel that way about our kids.
No, but yours really are cool.
But you know what? They have a friend. It's kind of interesting. I thought it was me infecting them, but it's not. They have a friend who's a little bit older, and she listens to all kind of old, classic rock music. And so somehow that is what they like.
That's cool.
And so it's cool. There is a great Onion headline about dad, turning child onto, a bunch of music that will keep her out of, her social group or whatever it is. So it's like they're listening to the Talking Heads. I'm like, why don't you listen to freaking Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
So
they're like, we're listening to Wilco right now.
that's right. Exactly.
Dad
Exactly.
rock.
They're like, we're listening to Lou Reed.
Yeah.
And so,
Perfect.
but I got them to Rosie has a friend who's a full Swiftie.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
so she knew some of it. I had her recommend a few to me. So she's like, all right, listen to this one. And then I kept trying to play them. And then I'm driving with Rachel, and I'm like, because Rachel's always yelling at the kids, don't be such snobs. Listen to the, current music. So I'm like, I'm driving with Rachel to
I love
dinner.
these kids. What a great thing to have to say to your kids.
Will you listen to this commercial music?
Exactly.
Popular music, please.
So I'm driving with Rachel. I'm like, come on, this Taylor Swift stuff, it's not bad. I started playing it. And so we're like, we're going out to dinner and we're listening to it. And about I don't know, I would say after the fourth song, she's like, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's enough.
It's not for everybody. Wildly popular.
But I think
everybody.
it's pretty good.
So do you think that Roger Goodell, seeing the success of this Taylor Swift union with Travis Kelce, it's probably boosted so many ticket sales and popularity, do you think he's going to other football players and saying, what do you think of Megan Thee Stallion?
Well, this is the bigger question. Is he calling up Taylor Swift's team and saying, "So is she going to be in Minnesota?"
They're absolutely trying to coordinate.
Yeah, they're
something.
coordinating
I
that.
mean,
We need some
look,
ratings over in
I know,
the
it's
Green Bay.
seriously, yeah.
It's one thing going to the Jets game. So now she's got to go to like Jacksonville or
Yeah, exactly.
They're flexing these games.
New York's one thing. Yeah.
Got to go to Indianapolis.
There's been some backlash, though. There's been backlash.
What kind?
Yeah.
Really?
And I think on the Kelce podcast, I think both of them came out saying it's been a little overdone.
I did. I heard this. Well, that was a question that Jason Kelce asked. Is the NFL
Yeah.
overdoing it?
Well, Adam Schefter was like tweeting out updates. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking for my waiver wire pickup info, and he's got some updates on the Swift thing. You know,
Well, it was also like it wasn't even just Taylor Swift. This in at the Jets game, they had like Wolverine was there. And,
yeah, Ryan Reynolds was
Ryan
there.
Reynolds, and it was like it was a whole. And somehow, have you noticed that
Deadpool.
Yeah,
Just my nerd.
no, but Deadpool, both of them were there.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
And Blake Lively.
did
And
they
then,
fight each other?
I don't know. I guess they're friends, but it was like a New York crew. But have you guys noticed that Mahomes' wife has somehow worked? her
Yeah.
way-
Oh, yeah.
I've been
She's
reading
going there
about
at dinner
that.
with-
Brittany,
yeah.
Brittany Mahomes.
Brittany Mahomes,
Yeah,
that's
everyone's
right.
talking about
She's
how
getting in
that's.
it.
What is
Great.
can we create more like weird gossipy drama?
I think this is a good point to maybe we cut to Greg Palmer's song about Mahomes
Yeah.
based on Country Road.
Oh, is it Take Me Home, Pat
Yeah.
Mahomes?
Yeah.
Pat Mahomes,
Yeah.
Travis Kelce.
We have been trying to work one of these in, and both of them are in it. So maybe we play that song real
I
fast.
mean, you gotta
Okay, we're
just
back.
find-
That was Greg Palmer singing
How great!
country. Yeah, exactly.
Can we bring up Adam Thielen so you can play that one?
Yeah,
Sure.
you want to cut to that one too?
Yeah,
We
because
can
that's
cut to-
that's still the
I don't
greatest
know.
one.
Who's
Yeah.
Adam Thielen dating these days?
Yeah, if Thielen starts dating Olivia Rodrigo or something, maybe we'll. I don't know what the
That's right.
possibility is.
That could be his way to a starting position.
It could be
Or
Greg's
a
way.
bigger contract.
Yeah,
that's for
bigger
sure.
contract.
It'd be
Exactly.
Greg's way to get into.
Yeah.
making
He's like,
money
Adam
off of these
Thielen's
songs.
like, I'm dating Linda Ronstadt. They're like, guys, this isn't going to cut it. Anyway, cut to the Adam Thielen song.
Yeah,
I
let's
like
hear
Linda
it.
Ronstadt.
I just love this feeling, playing for the Vikes. Love to watch him running around in those purple Nikes. And now it's my pick in the 7th round, and I'm thinking I want someone sound. I got Adam Thielen.
Don, you've directed a lot of great movies. Tom was talking about them.
Well,
Tom,
I just
Tom,
wanted
name
to
your name your
actually-
top.
I
couple
kind
of
of okay.
Hyams
Well,
movies.
I would really like to just dive into things other than.
About Kelce
This is the
and
Taylor
Swift.
Swift podcast.
But it's a very relevant.
topical.
It's super relevant.
and
It's-
Kelsey's on your team. So
He's on my team.
It's on top of your.
They need to
top
throw
of
him
your-
the ball more.
They
Instead
do.
of throwing to the other
He is
team.
injured.
That's right.
I just wanted to say that real quick. He is injured. He got banged up. He didn't play in week 1.
Right.
Part of the reason why he's not on the field all the time.
He's healthy. He's good.
He looks good.
Yeah, he's fine. You see him catch that ball.
You should trade him. To me,
Yeah, I'll take him.
I've done stupider things.
your team is called All the Wrong Moves.
Yeah.
Great name.
which is a great name.
I've earned this reputation.
You have really earned it. But I mean, I would say that in the beginning when you named your team that, because you were not paying attention, right?
Right.
You were making terrible moves. What were some of the moves you were making? Like leaving guys off the.
Well, remember when I cut Tom Brady? Which I stand behind that one. Tom Brady was pissing me off one year, so I just cut him.
And then he. It was a personal decision.
Yeah. I did trade you Josh Jacobs last year. That was a bad move.
Josh Jacobs. Yeah, you did. Yeah, for Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
That
Terrible.
That worked out really well for me.
That was bad. I mean, I still made the playoffs.
You
but that
still
was-
do
that was a-
well.
That was a
That's
bad
what-
move.
well, yeah. I mean,
You show up to the draft with no information,
That's
and
right.
you make the playoffs.
That's
generally.
That's
and-
my style.
Yeah,
The last
yeah.
3 years.
That's how it works.
yeah, because you have improved greatly as a fantasy football player.
I've learned the game a little bit.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know any more about the NFL. Like, again, my NFL knowledge is still like, I don't know if it was Zahn or who said it. I mean, I'm still back in like the Parcells Giants era.
Yeah.
Right. But,
Bernie's heyday.
you know.
What? Who? I
Yeah,
just woke
you know,
up.
or like the '80s Raiders, but
Yeah.
no, but I sort of I'm more on top of it. So I'm on top of the waiver wire.
Are you a competitive guy? Did you kind of feel like you wanted to compete with the rest of the league.
No,
Yes.
the
I
writer's
did-
strike happened, so he had some free time.
I didn't like. No, I don't. I really wanted to make the playoffs. And 2 seasons ago, by the way, I had the best team, and it
You
was
did. It was a juggernaut. Yeah.
it was incredible.
you didn't win. You didn't win.
And
the
I
whole
didn't
thing.
win, but it was because Kelce got COVID in the playoffs, and I
Right.
lost to Bradley. But I had Jonathan Taylor. I had Aaron Rodgers, who was the MVP. I had Jonathan Taylor, who was the number 1 runner. I had
Yep.
Jamari Chase. I had what's his face, Cooper Kupp.
Oh
was the
yeah,
number 1
Chase and
receiver.
You had a
Cup.
loaded team.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
it was a juggernaut.
It was.
It
And
was. And then you lost.
and I got the
you got
highest-
4th place.
I got the highest points total, but then
Yeah.
I lost to Bradley when Kelsey got COVID.
Yeah.
Bradley's tough.
He's our
Bradley's
back-to-back
tough.
champion,
Yeah.
Bradley Wegner,
Bradley
who
Wegner.
we
Shout
will
out.
not have on the podcast.
No, we can't give him any more information. He's winning too much.
He beat me this week, and we both actually kind of stunk it up, but he got lucky.
Well, he's the one. He had Graham Gano, who kicked the only points of the Giants for
right.
the Giants.
That's right.
And he
On
beat
Monday
you with
night.
that, yeah.
At least it was kind of early-ish in the game.
It was. I was like, okay, I lost.
Mm-hmm.
I knew
It's
it early.
Bernie. It's been a pretty painful Giants season. hasn't it?
Last game was the worst I've ever seen. They're so bad. Right? I mean, they
Worse than
can't-
the Dallas game?
Yeah, it was worse than the Dallas game.
It was pretty painful to watch Daniel Jones
11,
get sacked. that much.
11 sacks,
Yeah.
interceptions. They can't tackle anything, and they can't block anything. I mean, the whole thing is a disaster.
The coach is like yelling at him on the
Yeah,
sideline,
he's-
tossing the
I'm
iPad.
starting to think,
Yeah.
you got a little too much
Maybe he's not good after all.
praise.
Who,
than-
Dable or
Yeah.
Daniel Jones?
Jones.
Both.
Both.
I mean,
Both.
right.
I mean,
Right.
I mean, they have some talent there.
All right,
can't
who'd
they?
you
Can't
take
both
right
of them?
now, Daniel Jones or Zach Wilson?
I'd say probably take Zach Wilson. I like Zach Wilson now.
Well,
He had a great game last week.
So wait,
He lost.
here's a great wrong move that I might make this week.
Yeah,
So I picked up Zach Wilson on the waiver wire.
I saw that.
'Cause
I-
I'm
I
like-
wondered
Amazing.
why.
Well, and again, this could be a terrible move. I'm not sure which way I'm going to go, but I've got Purdy
right.
facing Dallas D,
Right.
or Zach Wilson after the best game of his life, where Chris Collinsworth was just loving him. Oh my God, that's Zach
Yeah,
Wilson.
right?
Facing Denver's garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
that's- that-
They are terrible.
But I don't know. Are they just going to run the ball down Denver's throat and never throw it and still beat them? I'm not sure. The Jets have to win next week.
I mean, it's worth a shot
Right.
just to make the wrong move.
It's I'm saying,
To
could be a
to make
legendary
the wrong move, right?
move.
Yeah,
Right.
legendary wrong move. Yeah.
You probably owe it more to your team name than anything else.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good
So,
luck. Good luck.
so that
with
might be my move but we'll see.
do it.
Good luck. Wait, what is your Zach Wilson story with him? Is there a
No, I said take that answer with a grain of salt that he likes Zach Wilson better than Daniel Jones because he also famously thinks that the Giants made a huge mistake not trading Phil Rivers away for Eli Manning. Thinks Phil Rivers is still better than Eli Manning, even though he
Even
won
after
two Super Bowls. Two Super
Well,
Bowl
I think
MVPs.
on paper,
I
Phil
think if
Rivers
he-
is better. But
I think if River was the Giant, there would have been more Super Bowls.
More- he thinks there would have been more.
At a better record.
you know what's? But here's the thing, Bernie. I actually agree with you that Philip Rivers would have put up better numbers. But Eli had that clutch thing. Those.
He had that touch.
It was just that though 2 crazy wild card seasons.
Yeah.
That was just clutchness.
But if you, I mean,
He was
I
just
followed
crazy
him.
enough to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's what he was.
But
you know,
he-
just
he-
wild enough.
He
Yeah.
was lucky because of the fact that his, those catches his receivers made, those famous catches.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
are
Tyree.
ridiculous.
Tyree,
Yeah.
as
So the
well
helmet.
as Manningham.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're ridiculous. I mean, it shouldn't have never happened. So
Yeah,
it was
but-
by
Well,
luck.
I mean,
even
Brady.
the
Brady's
Odell
had-
catch.
Yeah, I mean, Brady's had a lot of ridiculous things happen.
The
that
game
led
is
to-
full of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I mean, you
True.
don't,
Yeah.
right?
But
Yeah.
but all right. Let's think about
He
this.
did construct drives that won the Super Bowl. Like
Okay,
he took the
we could go
team down
back
the
in
field for
time.
80 yards.
Bernie. We can go back in time right now, and you can make that. Would you give away those 2 Super Bowls and you get Rivers and see what happens? Would you make that call?
Well, that wouldn't necessarily mean I'm giving away the Super Bowls. I'm saying there would have been more than what Manning got.
But that's what I'm saying. So if you could go back in time,
I'd still take Rivers.
you take Rivers and give up 2 Super Bowl victories during the peak,
Well,
like Randy Moss.
But you don't
Patriots
know that.
years.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't know that you're giving up anything because
Right,
you
right.
don't know what happened.
Well, but you
But you are
have
giving
to
up.
trade them in.
Well, I'm saying,
Yeah.
you got to trade in your
Yeah.
Lombardi trophies
Okay.
and then see how it plays out.
I would.
You would. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Okay,
Think
get the
of
hot
that.
tub. Get
That's-
the hot tub time machine. I want to see this movie.
That
what
is
we
a
need out
truly
here.
disgruntled fan right there.
truly-
That 2 Super Bowls is not
Curmudgeon.
enough.
He's a curmudgeon. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I
That's
hate my
like-
winning team. That's
Well,
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
a friend,
that's that.
a buddy who's a Chicago guy who, we talk about that Cubs World Series victory, and he just during the game, he during the World Series final game, he was like, "Fucking Joe Madden." He wanted to fire Joe Madden. He hates Joe Madden so much. I'm like, the guy got you a World Series.
Yep.
He's like, I don't care. He'd rather not have Joe Madden.
not have the World Series
But
victory. Yeah.
I mean, it's
That's a tough job, right? Manager, head coach.
it is.
You look at
Yeah.
Doug Peterson.
Not
the
very
Eagles,
many successful.
No, and it doesn't last very long.
No.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm a Patriots fan, obviously. You guys know that. But it'll be interesting to see how long they'll let Bill Belichick stick around.
Very few Belichicks in the league. Like what a career. Like,
You gotta
he's
let
winning.
him.
You have to
get his record.
You do whatever you
and
need to do, yeah.
Retire.
I bet
past
you
coach.
right now the Boston press is turning on him.
Oh, yeah.
Right now they're like, okay, time to hang it up,
Right.
old man. You know what I
That-
mean?
that
Like
was an ugly,
after
ugly
last
defeat.
week. I bet they're already like, okay, we're done with Bill.
Yeah, or let's put Zappy in and see if it's Mac Jones, and there might be a little bit more belief in Bill than there is in Mac.
Well, there should be. I mean, I think what it all just proves is that
Tom Brady is.
you need a
amazing.
great quarterback in this league to win.
Yeah.
Unless you're defense, unless you're San Francisco, then you just need someone to really take care of the ball.
But to win the Super Bowl, you're right. You need a great quarterback.
Pretty much. There's
Because-
like a couple examples, the Ravens back, the Ray Lewis Ravens. There's a couple examples of just defense.
Great teams
led
where all you really
teams.
needed was a competent manager.
Right.
The Giants won the Super Bowl with
With
Hostetler
Hostetler.
in '91. Like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
a great example. Like great running, great defense, boring Super Bowl kind of.
Exactly.
But that was the team. Yeah.
So we got John Hyams here, who we love, and we could talk sports all day. Let's just get to know John.
What's
a
your
little
favorite
bit.
Taylor Swift song, by the way?
I don't have one.
Okay.
I think they're all great.
I couldn't name one besides Shake It Off.
So my daughter Arlie is a huge Taylor Swift fan, and she went and saw the Eras tour here at
I heard it was epic.
Epic. She loved it. We made bracelets. I helped make bracelets that whole day. Laura Goldsmith, Ned's in our league, Ned Goldsmith's wife, made the bracelets with me. Went with Arlie and Annabelle and friends, and they all went to the show, and I was their chauffeur. I drove them there and picked them up. They had the best time. It was so wild to see. I mean, just
It's a phenomenon.
it's a phenomenon. It's like the Beatles. You know what I mean?
Jason, you're not allowed to edit out any of this Taylor Swift talk. You've got
Yeah.
It's all gonna kind
it's all got to be in there.
The only part that's gonna be in is where your
There's
girls
nothing
want to
left.
listen to really good music.
There's nothing left of this podcast but Taylor Swift.
I know.
That's my goal.
You're infusing it through the entire thing. That is a good point. But as Taylor Swift once said,
We're just going to keep getting it back to Taylor Swift, aren't
Bring
we?
it back to Taylor Swift.
There's going to be 5 usable minutes in
John,
Jason's
She's
opinion.
had so many periods. What were you saying?
eras.
How much do you get out of
Errors.
this? You have a contract with her or something? Do you get a kickback?
Well, here's the big question. Is she going to be like, there is the effect that girlfriends can have, and I don't say wives because that's a different thing, but famous girlfriends on athletes. So, for instance, I'm a Yankees fan.
Mm-hmm.
Kate Hudson was amazing for A-Rod.
Right.
The Kate Hudson era of A-Rod, that's the Super Bowl. I mean, the World Series year, 2009.
Okay.
She somehow, her effect on his psychological state, he was awesome. But then there's the Jessica Simpson, Tony Romo.
Right, brought him down.
Right. So which is this going to be?
Well,
so
Kelce,
far, so
Kelce
good.
won the Super Bowl last year. Like, what he
Well, he wasn't with.
He can only go down.
That's what I'm saying. He could only go down, but and he's, what is he, 34? I think he just turned, or
Yeah,
33.
33. Yeah, they're both 33.
So they're both 33.
All right, now I think now I'm out.
But no, what kind of season is going to lead to? I feel like somehow Mahomes is freezing him out a little bit.
Oh, right.
That's
like,
just
he just doesn't think she's right for him.
Maybe
No, I think he's
Mahomes
like,
is
I'm
playing
gonna-
his wife's angle. Like, you take Brittany to dinner, or I won't throw Travis.
yeah.
Well, I think Brittany's
Get
saying
her
like
in the mix.
I think maybe over dinner, Brittany's saying, there are other receivers on the team too.
Yeah,
it's
what
not, it's
about-
not
Right.
all just Travis.
Right.
Noah Gray is a really good tight end.
There's some young tight ends even.
Yeah.
These guys
Sure.
got
Lots
still
of
got
targets.
some
Lots
tread
of
left
targets.
on those tires.
Okay, we're coming back. We're coming back from a commercial break here. We got
that,
John
Adam?
Hyams.
Adam Thielen.
So we know John because we both went to Syracuse University, and we started out. You made your first movie, and I had the pleasure to be in it. I was so excited. Let me just set this stage here. We had a theater company, and you were making your first movie with some money that you had got. I don't know. You were like, I think you told me you could either paint or make a movie, right? You
Yeah,
could
it was
spend that
my
money.
it was just my own money
It
basically.
was your own money, and you had graduated from Syracuse, an art major.
Yes.
And your dad is a really great director, Peter
Yes.
Hyams.
Yes.
And I think maybe you didn't want to follow in his footsteps, or you did, or you didn't know if you did, or you had other interests.
I just honestly, I had been like, I always loved movies and everything, but then I'd been pursuing art, and that was what I was good at. Went to school, and then was having some success. So I had invested so much time and energy in that. I thought, okay, I'm gonna keep going with this art career, see where this goes, and then but I still love movies, so I started kind of doing that, making that first movie almost as like, okay, this will be sort of the side. This is something I'll do with my friends. I'm actually like, no one's paying me to do it. I'm actually paying to do it, but it's fun, and we'll try to make a movie. So that was how that came about.
And that movie is One Dog Day.
One Dog Day.
It's a favorite of all of ours. I know Jason watched it religiously with his friends in college.
Yep, black and white VHS tape of that movie.
Wore it out.
Got worn out in college.
John wrote this. It's a very, perfect 90s independent film.
Is it available?
It is.
For viewing?
Well, it is. It is. I think I even put it up on YouTube, but it's available.
It's on YouTube
Yeah.
somewhere, right?
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
So-
Or, I mean, I got a streaming version. I could give you a.
It's on
Perfect. Yeah, great.
Vimeo.
An uploaded version. Vimeo. That's what it is.
Vimeo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
right.
have it with the password.
Yeah.
We'll post the link.
But yeah,
Yeah,
can
we
post
could.
it up.
Should we?
Oh yeah. For
Okay,
sure.
we'll do it for sure. It's
Gotta
a
watch it.
Awesome movie, and made like totally like guerrilla style 4-man crew,
Yeah.
tiny crew, and it's a full
Andrew
length.
Sicking, Rob Mayer, Steve Schluter, and myself.
Yeah, and the cast is just all our friends and different various people, and it's just really fun to watch. You made movies growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
Was One Dog Day the first movie you made since you were a kid? Like, did you depart to art and then come back
Yeah.
with that movie?
And when I was a kid, it was really my brother. He was the one with the camera, so we would make them together. But he really was the guy who's making them. I was like acting in them, acting is a very loose term.
you guys were like stuntmen.
yeah, we're
like
just like
action.
chasing each other and then staging fights. That was pretty much what it was.
Yeah. Film on film or a video.
Yeah,
tape.
Super 8.
Super 8.
Super 8 movies. And so, whereas like you spend months making something that's like a minute and a half long,
Right.
and you're like, it was like you'd slave over these editing, but
amazing.
it was, that was all very formative. Like you learned a lot
Yeah.
just from these. I mean, it's kind of now you look at our kids now. My kids are 11 and 9. They just make a movie in an afternoon with their friends,
Right, with their phone.
with their phone
Yeah.
or an iPad.
Are Rosie and Lucy making movies?
Yeah, they'll make them. Like they'll make parody commercials and stuff like
Awesome.
that,
Slasher, killer movies.
they do different things. It started out they were like, it was funny because when they first would do it, they would do it with their friend, and they were really bad. They would be like interminable, like 17-minute like improv. It would be like a
No
Cassavetes
editing.
movie of them just sitting there like talking. And I would say, and they're like, Dad, we want to show this to you. And they'd show it to me, and I'd be like, guys, look, you got. All I'm gonna say, I don't care what you make it about, but you got to tighten it up.
All right.
If you want people
Wow,
to
notes.
watch this,
Notes.
Yeah, I'm not
Constructive
gonna
criticism.
And they're
6
like,
years old.
man, you're so mean. I'm like, listen, I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just saying, keep it brief because that go aim for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. People we'll sit through that. And they started, I don't think they actually were following my advice. I think they started watching like TikTok and things.
Oh, right.
And like
Short
they
form.
started understanding short form. And once they started emulating that, they actually turned out
Better.
pretty good.
There
And
you
they
go.
started
Yeah.
like getting better.
And they probably, as much as they were like, you're being so mean, they took in what you said. Your criticism means something to them. Obviously.
Because I would actually sit and start watching. They show it to someone else, and like they show it to Rachel, she'd be like, "All right, get out of here." You know, like,
You'd have the patience to watch it.
right. So it's like if you need people to watch, if you want people to watch, just tighten it up, tighter editing, and so they've done that.
Yeah.
And some of them are really funny and good. I mean, they did one when we were like on a camping trip with their friends, and it was like a Scorsese, like it was like involved like drugs and guns and like they had like
course.
shooting scenes and like it
Right.
was totally violent. I'm like, this is kind of a better version of what me and my brother used to do. Like ours was like really like superficial. Theirs was like, oh, this is kind of like a Tarantino crime movie.
They knew what to do to get their dad's attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're
Let's
watching
make
it.
dad
This
happy.
is awesome.
It was really good. I'll show it to you guys.
Oh, I can't wait. I mean, that's
Amazing.
That is amazing. So you made One Dog Day, and I was painting this basement of a building in Chelsea black so we could do like plays, and I was doing that with Craig Walker, who's one of our best friends, also from Syracuse. We were just like taking all our time and spending it on this little theater company, and then in walk you guys, and you just kind of like looked around and said, "Oh, this will be perfect for our movie." And I think like our heads snapped, like movie, you know what I mean? Like, holy shit, we're gonna make a movie. And you used Craig and our other friend George because they had just done this play action that you were like, "Oh, that's perfect." We'll just kind of like put them in as what were they like?
They were like performance artists.
They played performance artists who would like
At
get a whole
parties, right?
parties. They get a whole crowd around them, and eventually, I don't want to spoil it, but
yeah, that was that was the whole setup.
it was just a setup. You wait for this one moment, and then I think we were just all excited to be around a film crew, which was just this 4-man crew, but to us it seemed like
Yeah.
the everything.
Well, I think that I was talking to someone about this recently. Like, I think going to New York after college, it was like there was a whole bunch of us that were there, and it was really formative years for me because there was all these people like you and Craig and your whole group and everyone setting up this theater company and Jenny, and then we had friends who were in bands.
Yes.
And there was friends who were then I was doing the painting and stuff, and so there was all these incredibly creative people that we had gone to college with that were there. And really that movie was just like an idea of just like, can we do something all together?
Right.
There's like all these amazing, talented people here. So as we all know, we didn't really have a script or a story. It was just like, I went to see that play that you directed, Action, with Craig Walker
Sam
and
Shepard
George.
play.
And I'm like, this is amazing. We need these guys in it, And so it was all just about including everyone. And you're right. It's funny. It is a very 90s kind of throwback movie. I was in Oldenburg, Germany last year. I did like, they did a cool thing at this Oldenburg festival.
You did it with your dad.
And my dad didn't go, so I kind of represented
Got
for
it.
him.
Okay.
But they were showing like a bunch of his movies and a bunch of mine, like 6 of his movies and 6 of mine. And I would go there and represent and talk about them. And Oldenburg's this fun festival out there. And one of the coolest one of the most wild experiences I had was, you would go and sometimes you'd have these screenings, maybe 15 people, maybe 50, whatever it would be. But it was really fun showing this stuff. And I was just there by myself. And I'm walking down the streets of Oldenburg, and this like random middle-aged German guy with his wife walks up to me, and he says to me, "I just want to tell you, One Dog Day, I love this movie."
Oh,
and I
my
go,
God.
I'm like, wow, I think I've made it just for this moment right here.
Somebody
Halfway around the world.
Yep.
Random
Some
guy.
Total random guy who just happened to be
Unbelievable.
in there, and that thing, in all its like flawed glory.
If
was
I had
enough.
to,
I perfect. That's such
I mean,
a perfect image.
if I had to imagine One Dog Day being popular somewhere, it's Germany.
Well, wait,
if
wait,
you
hold
see
on.
this movie, it's like the black and white. It's
I was
like
gonna
dog
say
bites man.
France.
It's
Yes.
man bites dog. It's got all that weirdness to it, and it's the
Totally.
Germans eat that stuff up.
What do they eat? Hold on.
Movies,
I just wanted to say.
indie movies.
I was gonna say French because to me it's like a French.
Could be,
You
yeah.
know.
Definitely, yeah.
Sure,
It's
I think
avant-garde.
European.
the European vibe.
Yeah,
It
French
definitely
New
European
Wave.
Yeah. So please check that out. So that's how we started out. That's how we became friends. And you know, I was just always anxious to do anything else that you made, and we wound up making a lot of things together. And it's been one of just like the greatest.
List them. What'd
pleasures of
you
mine.
make? You made
So,
One Dog Day.
We made One Dog Day. We made Z Nation, which Jason did the music for.
right.
Z Nation.
We made All Square with a bunch of our friends.
All
I worked on Glock with you.
Yep, my short film.
Yep.
Tom made
so
a
worked
short
on
film
that.
called Glock.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll just keep making many
We'll
more.
keep doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's next? This podcast.
That's what it's, you know, in the end, it's like, I think we all kind of did those things, and then
Right.
and then we all kind of ran out and hustled and try to have careers and stuff. But then you get
That's true.
you get these brief moments, like All Square was one, and it was the first one in a long time where we all kind of were together. You know, it was like a bunch of
Yeah.
us friends.
Yeah.
And you realize those are like rare but awesome moments when you get to do stuff with like a group of your buddies.
When you're on set and you're looking around, you're like, oh man, these are my pals.
Yeah.
Like this is different than
Yeah.
any other
Yeah.
experience.
Like we had, I mean, just you. And I mean, there was a time where I think on set where it was like you and Mike and Josh
Yeah.
all there, you
yeah.
know,
And everyone's doing their
day.
thing. Everyone gets
Yeah.
to like add their thing, and that's
It
what's
was
really
just-
fun.
It was really fun.
And I think we think after One Dog Day, we're just going to do that right away. And
Yeah.
sometimes it just takes 20
That's
plus
right.
years to
Takes
do it.
a minute.
You really appreciate like those like Soderbergh casts or like
Sure, or Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson casts. Like
Yeah.
they get to make so much together. Like
Yeah.
they do that all the time. Like just to have the little taste of that, I'm sure it was awesome.
That's the goal. I
Yeah.
think we all
Exactly.
see that and we go like, oh man, that's making stuff with your gang.
That's
Yeah,
it. That's
totally.
that's what you kind of are always trying to work your way back to.
So you, after One Dog Day, I remember, I think I was expecting you to just keep making those kinds of movies, but then you got into documentaries,
Right.
some amazing documentaries.
Thanks.
And you also worked on those. I mean,
I worked on Rank, the Smashing Machine, Rank,
Yep.
and
That was pretty much it.
Just those two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if our listeners just like want to see an amazing documentary, Ultimate Fighting, before it became huge, right? The Smashing Machine is about a Syracuse wrestler,
Yep. A guy named Mark Kerr.
Mark Kerr, and I remember when I saw that at the screening, I was just like, "This is like, how did you get that story?" You know,
Yeah, it was cool. It was great. I mean, again, and that was another thing where like I was just trying to get movies made and I couldn't get anything going. And then we had some friends who had, you know, we had a good friend, John Greenhalgh, who was a teammate of this guy, Mark Kerr, who is now getting into this thing. Now MMA is like a very common thing to say you're MMA. Back then it was
Right.
like he's into this kind of ultimate fighting thing. Seemed very exotic. And I thought, oh, I never wanted to do a documentary, but we got a few bucks and maybe we could do sort of a Pumping Iron type of thing. I'd always liked Pumping Iron.
Great movie. Yeah.
And which was awesome, right?
Yeah.
Where it takes you into a subculture and then and even if you don't like the subculture, once you meet the people who participate, you get caught up in it. And then
Yeah.
the narrative of a competition kind of like pulls the thing through. So that was the idea. And I think for me, it was really good actually to go into documentaries because I'm coming from doing One Dog Day. I actually remember this like pretty humbling thing where like I made One Dog Day and it was this, you know, again, very of its time, very slacker kind of Jim Jarmusch or the influences are on its sleeve, whether it's successful or not. You see what I'm kind
Sure.
of going after, this very cartoonish, heightened reality,
Yep.
satirical vibe that really existed then.
Right.
And I remember I was editing the movie and I went to go at the Beverly Center. There's like this little movie theater there.
yeah,
And I was going all the time and I went to go see this movie and it was Hard 8.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
yeah.
And
Great movie.
I remember like going into it like this guy, I read about him like he's my age. And I remember seeing that movie and going, oh, fuck, what am I doing? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, no.
holy shit.
Sometimes
And
it's inspiring, and sometimes it makes you never want to touch
Yeah.
a camera.
it was both, because it was like super humbling, but I also realized like this guy was not trying to be so. Should we be talking about Taylor Swift again? Because like we're taking this down.
No.
To film.
We can bring it back.
No.
We can
Okay,
bring
I'll
it
bring
back.
it back. Anyway,
she's
I-
existing in the conversation whether we say her name or not.
Okay. But I just remember seeing it thinking like, I'm doing this stuff that is all very like, what's the word? Just kind of satirical and ironic and
Yes.
wise ass. And here's this guy who's just doing this beautiful, sophisticated movie that is like dead fucking sincere and
Yeah.
dramatic. And I'm like, and this is just another level. I remember seeing another movie at that time, same time too, was James Gray's Little Odessa.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just filmmaking. And I'm like, I'm way behind these guys. I got a lot to learn. And I think the documentaries helped kind of land me at least in a place of like,
Center you a little bit.
yeah, like
more
you're telling
human.
like dramatic stories.
Yeah.
It's about character. It's about like getting people to love the people that you're watching. It's not about trying to be like smarter than your audience. And so,
Right.
so that
Right.
was, so I learned that from the documentaries, I think, after seeing what great filmmakers were doing.
I think that's incredible. I think what's really incredible about that is your awareness in the moment. And where do you get that from? Do you think that your dad is a pragmatic guy, like your mom, your brother, like who like, or did that just come from you, like a out of body experience where like some voice in your head told you, "Hey, wait, I'm not going to push this. I see this film over here, and I know that that's like somewhere I'm not there yet. I got to do something to get there."
Yeah, I think, I don't know if I'm sure we all have done this. I mean, you're a musician, Jason, you had an amazing band. You're obviously been in tons of amazing stuff, but you do hit a certain point where like sometimes you go down this road where you're like, well, wait, I'm this age. I should have done this by this age.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point when, again, you see something like Hard 8, you're like, well, this guy's lapped me 3 times already. So
What am I doing?
So I
Yeah.
could say, what am I doing? But then it's like, all right, so get out of that thinking. Like,
Right.
I'm going to be the tortoise, not the hare.
Right.
This is going to be a long journey. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get wherever I'm going. I already have a dad who had this amazing, successful career. I'm not going to be necessarily as successful as him, but I want to be doing what he does. Like, I love that world. I love movies. I love this. I just want to be making them. I
Right.
don't really care what the budget is. I just want to be doing that, but I want to be doing it well.
You've
and
always
I want
had
to be
that.
learning.
I've always loved, part of my favorite things about you, is your artist mentality. You don't go for a quick, money thing. You never have. You've always waited until the thing was right, and it's admirable. And I think it's great when you're young too, to have that,
Realization.
mentality and
Yeah.
realization, and follow through with it.
Yeah, I think you get to a certain point where you realize that you're lucky just to be doing it.
That's it.
And you don't have to be Paul Thomas Anderson making Hard A. You could, as long as you're doing what you want to do.
And I think you're going to make
you're way ahead.
I think you're right. I
Yeah.
think that's it. It's like I just want to
Yeah.
be in the game,
Right.
and I want
Yeah.
to be doing that. And I don't really know what form you can. It's good to be someone. It's good to have goals or whatever. But I think if my own journey has taught me anything, is you don't really know where it's going to go, or where you don't really
Yeah.
know if you close yourself off to what you might be
to
doing.
one goal, yeah.
Or think I only want
You
to
got to
do
follow
this.
the signs.
Yeah, sometimes they
Yeah.
just lead you down a different road, and I wouldn't, the kinds of things I'm making now, I wouldn't have thought that's what I'd be doing, but I
Right.
do. But I
Right.
do
mean,
love these things.
Sometimes you just have to shake it off and
Right.
Exactly.
Just do what you got to
Exactly.
do.
That's
Shit.
right. If we,
I had a great email in our in our thing. I researched a bunch of Taylor Swift songs. I seamlessly wove those song titles into
I
this
know.
email.
Bernie, that's why Bernie left the league, because he couldn't stand all the stupid emails and texts. And
Right,
now,
right,
and now
yeah.
he's back in.
Here we are.
And he's on the email list, so he gets all of them. And you're part of the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Dad.
Actually, the emails have really been a lot lower in volume this year.
Yeah, more subdued.
Yeah, I figures, I get out, boom, it goes down the tubes.
Yeah, usually we
need to
get
get it back in
Timmy.
there.
You know,
Yeah.
Timmy usually, gets riled up.
Yeah, he floods the
Yeah.
system.
There's
yeah.
usually some really like it's a couple guys take it too far and it starts getting personal and,
Angry
some-
and
and
personal.
feelings get hurt. It's usually Palmer and Tim somewhere around
Some
there.
personal
Ross
attacks.
maybe
Ross is usually the butt of some joke.
right,
that-
yeah. Someone takes it too far
Yeah.
and then it's like we're not sure if feelings were hurt or not.
Right. And, then
And
you-
that's when that's good, but I think that's later in the season. I don't think we're there yet.
we have to get there.
Yeah.
Work our way up.
It's
That's right.
possible,
Yeah.
or we're mellowing, as we get older.
John, what's next? Are you working on anything?
I'm potentially going
Can we
out.
talk about stuff?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, writers aren't striking anymore.
yeah, we're not striking. Yeah, about to go make a movie.
Yeah,
With,
there you go.
With Frank Grillo and Georgia Wiggum, and we're shooting
awesome.
in Oklahoma.
Amazing.
It's a really cool kind of road noir horror movie that becomes like a wild kind of supernatural horror movie called The Shepherd.
Oh, nice.
Doing it with this company Paperclip with the guys that we
Yeah.
did All Square with.
Great. Can Bernie be in it?
No,
I mean,
no.
I'd love you to be in it, but I think there's only like 4 or 5 people in
That's
this.
okay. He can
No,
take one of those.
no.
So I know Frank Grillo from the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And then who's the other actor you said?
Georgia Wiggum, who Shea Wiggum?
Yeah.
Yeah, Shay.
It's his daughter,
Oh wow.
and she's a
Love
a
Shea Wiggum.
fantastic actress.
Oh, my
She's been
gosh.
on she was on a Daredevil
The
show
series?
with, yeah,
Okay.
with Bernthal.
Oh, fantastic. We know Shay really well.
Do
We used
you?
to- yeah. Well, I mean, yes.
Tom knew him from a while ago, but we went to the same gym together for a while, and we'd see him like once a week. And we'd just get together and like bullshit for like 10 minutes every time we saw him, and he was the greatest.
He is the greatest. He's a great
so
actor. He's
great.
really awesome.
He'd
dude.
tell us some amazing story about being in New Orleans with somebody like,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
it was the best. It was like it was a good weekly run in with Shea Wiggum.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
He is brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool. So his daughter's in that. That's wonderful.
His daughter's a fantastic actress.
Oh, I'll
and,
have to check it out.
She's I had read her for something way back and thought, man, she is good. And then this came up, and I think we all thought she'd be perfect for this.
Gideon Adlon was in your last
Exactly.
movie. Famous actors when they have offspring. John
Second
comes along.
generation.
Yeah, gives them a
Exactly.
shot.
That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, they learn. Yeah,
Hey, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Gideon
That's right.
Adlon, of course. Pamela Adlon,
Yep.
her daughter.
Yeah,
and,
I was lucky enough to work with both of them.
Yeah.
with
Very-
Pamela and Gideon.
and very soon
Yes,
your
and
daughters
also-
will be directing the movies they're in, so
That's right.
it'll all just shift over, and we could stay in the garage and talk for about an hour.
on the next episode of Nepo Baby.
You know what? But you got to assume if you've been, it's just like Arlie, right? Like she's got 2 super talented parents. It's not a shock that she'd be a good singer or artist or actor or whatever she wanted to be. That's in her.
It's also the
in her
family
world.
It's the family business too. It's like if you're a
Yeah.
farmer, your son will probably be a farmer. Like
Yeah.
it's just
They're
natural.
gonna
yeah.
be like decent from the get go,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
do they love it or not?
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
I
If
don't
they-
know
if
how
they
it really
love it.
works, but I mean, anybody, you can be surprised and shocked too. Like someone could come from, no talent in their family and still, be this
With
the next
More,
greatest
and
thing.
With
that's
enough
pretty
money,
often
yeah.
too.
But you do go to these schools here in Los Angeles and see these kids in these high schools, and you're like, wow, the gene pool is rich with talent. It's like if you get all these great artists together in one town,
Right.
The
They're
kids
all-
are going to be good too.
Yeah, the
you go-
offspring is incredible.
I remember Arlie going to these, being in these talent shows and just being like blown away by these kids who could like write and play and sing and blah blah blah.
I know it's why I sort of wish I sent my kids to private school, because that's where you get to be in the country club. Where you're like,
It is
okay,
like
with,
it is
You
like
get the
a
gang.
country club.
Yeah. You get part of the gang that's like super
Yeah.
successful. Yeah.
with J.J. Abrams kids.
Exactly.
They're in
Yeah.
my school play.
You're set for the
Yeah.
rest of your life. Work with them for the rest of it. Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. No,
Well, we blew it.
That exactly happened. Yeah. Arlie loves Taylor Swift.
She does.
Jeez.
John,
Well, let me ask you this.
let's go out on this. What do you got?
All right, let me ask you this. What would happen if Taylor Swift started dating the backup tight end on that team? Now, would that
Would that be incredible or what?
Wouldn't that would be kind of amazing? I'd hate to implode the situation.
You
but
mean
it would-
after Kelsey, not instead of.
Post Kelce.
Post Kelsey
Yeah.
moves on to the backup.
Yeah.
I mean, what a
Or Cole Kmet was my other tight end.
she's a be a
What if she moved over
depth chart dater, just like moving down the line.
She would only date people on your fantasy team.
Only on my fantasy team.
Right.
That's right.
That would be something.
That's
yeah.
right. So she could be,
Who's your kicker?
I don't even remember.
I saw somebody post I wish you would date a climate scientist.
Yeah,
So maybe we can
that's a good line.
have a little attention toward that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
She did, and no one was paying attention.
Exactly.
Or that breakup song is fantastic.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys a question though. This is it's a fantasy football podcast. You're going to you're kind of tracking your team. Now, Bernie, you used to I heard the first episode, you're saying that you used to do this stuff before there was like computers to add up the scores and everything. So you had to like go through the box score
In the newspaper, right?
in the and add up the numbers and do all that stuff.
Correct.
Right? And were you the commissioner, as it were, of this league?
I don't think they had commissioners, but I probably was.
You were in charge?
I was in charge.
He
of-
ran the thing, so
I
yeah.
ran it. We had this thing in a restaurant, and everybody would, come in and
Would
do
you
their
put the
thing.
names on the board? Like
Yeah,
when you drafted the
yeah.
players?
I would compute or add up with a pencil and everything, and then pop it on a place in the restaurant, and people who belong to the league or whatever would come in and take a look to see where they were and who won, who didn't win. And usually Monday night football was the night everybody would show up to see what's going on.
Sure.
They may have some guys left for that Monday night game,
Right.
but that's where all the action would take and everything would.
John, it was a restaurant right out of Goodfellas. It was red leather
It
booths.
sounds amazing.
It was
It was something. It was
wine glasses hanging above the bar.
I love
was
it.
red.
Now, did you kind of just, as a league, decide, okay, this is what is a yard, this is how much we're going to score for this? Like, did you guys come up with your own rules, or was there some idea of how to do that already?
I think there was some sort of somebody had a structure, like I don't know if it was ESPN at that time, was it? I don't remember.
No, and I'm trying to remember. This is like in the 90s, right?
Right.
He did. Well, Bernie also came from the sports department of a newspaper, so he was kind of tied into
Yeah,
that,
so-
that world. So I'm
Right.
sure
Okay, so it
somebody.
was all sports guys that
Yeah,
were in
somebody along
involved
Right.
Could
in
you
this.
get
And
those
some mafia.
magazines? I forget what companies would put them out, but there would be magazines at the beginning of football season specifically made for fantasy football that you would
not back
use
then.
as research.
I don't
Like the
think
sporting
In the
news,
90s, for sure.
in the 90s.
I
late
don't know.
80s, 90s,
There was something that came out of a magazine or something that how to add up and
Yeah.
what to use and how to determine
How to play fantasy
how
football.
to determine
maybe
the numbers.
As a
like
source.
It would-
a
It would have players.
tenth of a point per yard, whatever. Passing. It wasn't PPR at the time.
No, that came later.
Yeah.
That-
So would you guys put up money as we do at the beginning of the season?
Correct.
You
right.
guys all put money into the pot.
right.
And so did it get was it all for fun, or did it get pretty competitive? Because there's money
It
involved.
was basically for fun. It wasn't the money that was being used was always somewhere else. They would, placing bets, gambling, what's the spread, that type of thing.
Plenty of bookies around.
Yeah,
Sure.
the league was basically just for fun, just to have a group of guys around yelling and way to go, that type of thing.
But it's just so interesting because football has always been tied to gambling forever, right?
Oh, yeah.
Football was
Right,
always
right.
that was the first sport I remember where they would post the point spreads in the paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Now it's gambling is you can gamble on lacrosse. If everyone's
Right.
got FanDuel or all
Yeah.
these. It's sort of just this generally promoted, accepted thing.
It's
In
even,
fact-
it's even backed by the leagues.
Well, and
Literally.
they
Yeah.
just reduced the suspension number of games you can be suspended. Jameson Williams is the receiver for the Lions who was busted for gambling. And
They lessened the.
he was going to be out for 6 games.
That's amazing.
But they this just happened where they reduced the length of the suspension, so he's coming back earlier than originally.
It's so
thought.
funny how they can legalize that part of the game and advertise for it, and then tell the players they can't do
It's
it.
total
I mean,
hypocrisy.
it makes sense in the larger sense, but it's crazy.
Yeah, you can't
Right.
gamble, but here's an ad.
Yeah,
FanDuel.
don't smoke cigarettes, but we're going to cut to a cigarette commercial.
No, it's funny because
they
they
don't
have
care.
like the athletes do a podcast, like the Kelce podcast. They'll do it, and then they're like, okay,
Brought to you by...
we're going to step off the mic, and they have their because they're technically not allowed to talk about the lines and stuff.
Oh, to read copy by
So they
DraftKings.
step off, and then
God.
the intern gets on, and he reads okay, this week we got Atlanta.
Wow.
John, thanks for being here. It was a real pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to try to edit out some of the football conversations so we can get more Taylor Swift in this.
I think
but-
you gotta leave all the Taylor Swift stuff in there. That's what people want right now. If you guys want the clicks,